passed. So, Ken, this is what we're looking at right now, the two hot spots, the Rocky Mount area and one farther south. We'll monitor these while we toss it over to you, but that's the latest of what's happening now. Okay, Mike, we've been getting pictures and video from all over the community. Let's go right now to Lee County, one of the hardest hit areas. The Lowe's Home Improvement store in that area. This is a picture that just came into our newsroom about an hour ago. When the storm blew through Lee County and Sanford, it completely demolished the Lowe's Home Improvement store in Lee County. Our reporter Brian Mims is on the scene. Brian, what can you share with us at this point?
Well, let me first of all say that we are trying to establish a live picture from our truck right now. Authorities have cordoned off a wide perimeter around the store, and they're not letting us get our remote truck any closer than I am right now. I'm about a block from the building. We're working to get that for you now. I'm standing at Highway 87 and Horner Boulevard where traffic's being diverted around the area. And let me also warn you that cell service is rather spotty. I may lose this call here any second, but I'll just keep on talking. 87 and Horner Boulevard is where I'm standing. I'm looking up the hill. I just walked in front of the Lowe's store, and the parking lot is filled with cars that have their windows busted out. Across the road, there's a Big Lots. Substantial damage to the Big Lot store as well, namely to the roof. It appears as though the roof is torn off, and as well in that area. Shattered in that Hardee's. There's signs that are twisted along the roadside. It really is an apocalyptic scene right in this centralized area around the Lowe's Home Improvement store. And it took us a while to get here because it's such a gridlock. The streets and highways leading into this area are jam-packed with traffic as authorities try to divert people away from the damaged site. I don't know if I'm still on the air. Can you still hear me now?
Oh yeah, Brian, we still got you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, because I keep thinking I'm here. But I talked with some employees who were inside the Lowe's store, and they described how they saw this wall of churning debris of wind, and it started coming across Horner Boulevard, and employees told me that they started shouting to everybody to get to the rear of the store. They herded customers to the back of the store and put them in break rooms, and within a few seconds, the storm had passed. And from what we have heard, talking to employees, nobody suffered any serious injuries. They described some cuts and some nicks, but from what we have heard so far, everybody weathered this okay. But there is, it's just incredible to look at. It takes your breath away when you see the extent of this destruction here at the Lowe's. It's demolished. It really is. It just illustrates the raw power of these storms. I've never really haven't seen anything like it, Ken.
Yeah, and we're all feeling that way today. When we see the images, particularly this picture coming into our newsroom, that picture you're looking at, that used to be the Lowe's Home Improvement store in Stamford. Brian telling us that the entire structure is basically demolished. The Big Lot store across the street, it appears, as Brian says, the roof peeled off of that. He mentioned the Hardee's. The cars in the parking lot in that area, the windows completely blown out. And Mike, you see this kind of damage, and you see it elsewhere. Absolutely. We don't see it in North Carolina, and it's hard to believe something like that could happen here. But it's happening. And it's rare. Yeah. I mean, the last time we've had something this extensive was back in March 28, 1984. We all talk about the Red Springs tornado that passed through the southern part of the state, and these tornadoes stayed on the ground for long periods of time. The other one was the North Raleigh tornado back in 1988 that tracked from North Raleigh through parts of Franklin County, eventually through Nash and Halifax counties. This will
pale in comparison, or that one will pale in comparison to what we got going on right now. We want to go back to the dual Doppler 5000 radar because it looks like the cell over Wayne County is intensifying, a very extremely sharp looking hook echo with this. So here's a wider view, and I want to zoom in a little bit more, and then after this I'll have Nate look at the storm up in Rocky Mount, but this is very impressive, and I'm going to stop this because it's a definitive hook. There is a tornado on the ground right here, and just north of it, this is where we're seeing the hail come down. And there's such instability and such strong downdrafts with these tornadoes that we're probably seeing large hail just to the north of the circulation of this tornado. So I want to zoom in a little bit tighter here and see what communities are being affected. There's LaGrange as you get over into Greene County, and there's Lenore County. Up here you're looking at Snow Hill. There is the center of circulation. We're talking about Hood Swamp that is under the circulation right now. This is a dangerous tornado. If you're watching from this vicinity, if you're watching in Greene County, the Snow Hill community, and parts of western Greene County, you need to take shelter immediately. The storm is heading in your direction. This is nasty looking. And before we go over to Ken, I know, Nate, we need to cover the storm over in Rocky Mount. That's looking particularly nasty as well.
Yeah, Mike, the radar signature on this one is still very, very indicative of a tornado, either in the developmental stages or potentially on the ground here just across the eastern and southeastern side of Rocky Mountain. You notice the winds blowing away from the radar here, the greens indicating a pocket toward the radar, and that implies that there's a circulation there just to the south of Rocky Mount. This is moving toward the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. Rocky Mount now getting heavy rain. If this is on the ground, indeed on the ground, we are looking at a rain-wrapped circulation, so you're not going to be able to see this. You just need to take shelter. If you live in eastern parts of Rocky Mount along 64, up toward Highway 97, and then perhaps up toward Battleboro, up toward the north of Rocky Mount, there in Edgecombe County, you do need to take shelter from this thunderstorm immediately. Get into the lowest level of the building, whatever building you're in, assuming it's sturdy, get to the lowest level of that building and take shelter from this. Again, a tornado likely there making its way across southern parts of Rocky Mount. This will be heading next into Halifax County toward the Scotland Neck area. And also, while we're here, I want to go back down toward the south and point out that we've still got the storm in southern Sampson County making its way across toward Concord. Still a warning out on this one, but hopefully maybe a little bit of an indication that it's weakening there. So hopefully some good news, but still take shelter in southern Sampson County from that tornado as well. Mike?
We need to go to Ken. Ken's got an update for us?
Yeah, let's quickly get back up to Person County where our Bo Minnick is standing by with some more reports of storm damage. Bo.
Yeah, Ken, we're in Person County. We're in the parking lot, the front yard area of the Bethel Hill Charter School. You can see off in the distance there, what you're looking at is the gymnasium of the school. The gymnasium of the school had its roof just ripped off by this storm. I also want to bring in the battalion chief for the Roxborough Fire Department, Chris Robinson. Chief Robinson, what have you been able to survey so far?
Right now, we know that we have power out in probably 250 residents. US 501 north out of Roxborough has been closed due to power lines across the road. We have numerous trees on houses, roads closed with trees across them. We know right now of no injuries, though, which is good news. You
brought up power lines. We saw just driving in. There are so many trees right now just dangling on these power lines. How dangerous is that? It's very dangerous. As a fire department, we treat every wire as they're hot. So if someone wants to go out and just cut the trees off, they might get electrocuted. So if you're out there and cutting lines, please be aware of that. Don't do it. Let the power company take care of the trees that are on power lines. And this is the command center here behind us. What's taking place right now? Right now we have different search teams out going door to door, checking each house, checking for medical conditions of the people that are in it, letting them know of a temporary shelter that's been set up at the Bethel Hill Church on old US 501, trying to get an assessment of what's going on in the community, so if we need to set up a permanent shelter, we can do so later. I know you said nobody was hurt. We had heard reports that there may have been some people trapped. Do you know anything about that? Yes, we had a house, a tree that had fallen on a house. 4 people had taken shelter in their basement, and we're not able to get out, but we were able to get them out. I'm not sure how they got them out through a window or some other means than the doorway, but they are out and safe.
Again, thank you for your time, Chief Robinson. Also, really quick, I want to turn around here and show you guys this. This is a good example of what we're seeing just all over the place here. You can see this tree that was uprooted, roots standing straight up, vertical in the air. There's just one here, but believe me, there's got to be at least 20 to 30 that we've seen just on this road coming up here. Again, as soon as we learn more, we'll bring it back to you.
And Bo, as you look around this area, you've been in our community now for about a year, 2, 3 years. What are you thinking when you see all this damage?
The first impression that I had driving up here was that it was just unbelievable to see how many tree limbs rather, were dangling from power lines. You can see over here just a lot of these lines are looking really low. I don't see any specific examples in this one spot here, but we've seen tree limbs just literally hanging like threads off of these power lines. That was the first impression that I had. I've covered several storms up in this area. I've never seen anything like that before while I was here.
And the important thing is, Bo Minnick live tonight in Roxborough, we appreciate that. And the important thing is you see these down power lines, and because we've had a lot of down trees and down power lines, please, if you see a down power line, do not go near it. Let the power company handle that. Bo just showed us some widespread damage in Roxborough and Person County. He showed us the Bethel Hill Charter School. The roof of the gymnasium was completely peeled off. So Person County, Wake County, and all over our area, we're seeing damage reports coming in.
And we have more and more coming in. We'll go over to the radar and I'll run through these damage reports. They're amazing that are coming in. Now, 1 mile south of Dunn, our train spotter reports structural damage, roof off of a Food Lion grocery store and front windows blown out. Reports of numerous cars with windows blown out, large trees uprooted. As we go over to Wilson County, over Wilson itself, we have reports of numerous cars overturned and buildings destroyed in downtown Wilson. We go over to Lucama. Emergency manager reports numerous homes destroyed from a tornado from Lucama to Wilson. Falls Lake area of Wake County reports of hail shredded leaves and dented cars from large hail that moved through there. So that's just some of the damage that we're seeing out of these tornadoes as they pass through. We still have tornado warnings in effect, and likely we'll have those tornado warnings come to an end within the next hour, at least move out of our viewing area. What we're watching now is moving into Greene County, that cell here. There's also the one in Edgecombe County, and then we have that other cell that we're watching in Duplin County. We'll go up to Edgecombe County first to see how this cell is looking. And it doesn't seem to have that hook that it had before, but it has the history of all that damage in Wilson County, Lucama, the buildings being destroyed, homes being destroyed in Lucama and Wilson, and it continues to move towards the northeast. And there's Gethsemane community up here, there's the Lawrence community, you're in the path. Also, there's the Rendale community that's still under the gun. The storm is rapidly moving to the northeast at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So as it holds together, it will make its way into southeastern Halifax County, so Scotland Neck will be the next in line to endure this storm. And then farther south, the system over Wayne County and also Greene County still looks mighty impressive, but it looks like it has weakened perhaps just somewhat as it's made its way into Greene County. Some locations that we're talking about right here is Snow Hill. Over here is Contentnia. Also, there's the Oakdale community that looks like it's right under the circulation, and we have not had any ground truths, but we're assuming that there are tornadoes on the ground because of all these cells have been producing tornadoes. So we're going to treat this like there is actually a tornado on the ground. So dangerous situation for Oakdale and Contentnia and also Snow Hill. Now, we've had a report just now that the tornado warning has been canceled for Wayne County now that the signature has moved into Greene County. So that is good news for your folks in Wayne County, but still a nasty scene. Also, we've just had a report of a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Franklin, Nash, and Wilson counties until 6:15, even though the tornado threat has subsided for Franklin County and Wilson County, and also for Franklin County. There's still the potential for some straight line winds, and we notice still some showers moving through Vance and Franklin and northeastern Wake County, and then farther to the south over Harnett County. But by far the worst activity is right along and east of I-95, and give it another hour or so and it should be out of our community. And Nate, are you watching the Sampson County, or are you
I'm actually up at the Rocky Mount storm again, and while we're still on the storm that's moving out of Wayne County, I want to let you know that the tornado warning that for Greene Wayne County also includes Greenville. We had a couple of calls from folks wanting to know about East Carolina. They've still got probably half hour before that gets there, but students at East Carolina need to be paying attention to this storm, and the parents, just keep tabs on your kids over there. But the folks at the university know how to take care of their students, and they'll take all the precautions they need to. Now, let me go back over toward Rocky Mount again. This is a very impressive thunderstorm with a very impressive circulation now making its way northeast of Rocky Mount across the northern part of Edgecombe County. This is going to miss Tarboro, thankfully, off toward the north, but we are going to have some communities up into the north side of Edgecombe County along Highway 44. Let me do a storm track on this, give you an idea of what we're looking at and when we're looking at it arriving. Again, everything generally moving off toward the northeast at about 45 miles per hour, so these storms are moving very quickly. The only community within that field is drawn, and that'll be another 15 to 20 minutes from now. So the northern Edgecombe County, this will eventually move toward the Scotland Neck community and to the northeast of Speed, so please be careful if you're in that part of the state. As well, and I'm reminded our intern John Boyer mentioned that East Carolina suffered a tornado. We keep harkening back to 1984, but East Carolina was struck by a tornado in 1984. There's a lot of parallels between that event and this one in terms of the high risk and everything else. I want to just sort of zoom out and give you a visual of all of the damage reports across central North Carolina. You see all of these dots here. The red dots are indicating tornado damage reports. Clearly something started in Moore County, continued all the way through Lee County and up toward the north and east, and another trend of them from across Cumberland County into eastern Harnett County, another round of them there to the south of Rocky Mount in Wilson County, and then another batch toward the south across portions of Sampson County. And that's just what we've gotten so far. I expect fully that we will probably have quite a few more of these in the next little while. I also want to show, just to give a broad view of how the damage how the storms have cycled over the last little while. And as I put the laps on, this is something that we use from time to time. Get the technology to cooperate here. And you can see the line marching from west to east with these individual supercells developing inside, and each one of those dots that you see on the screen indicating where we've had at least a report of damage. And again, those are just the damage reports that we've seen so far. I fully expect that we're going to see more of those over the next little while. Mike and Ken, do we have anybody to talk to here?
Oh.
Yeah,
I just want
absolutely.
to do a quick overview of
Go
what's
ahead,
going on
Mike,
across the
and
area.
I'll jump in after you.
And let folks know that we still have a tornado watch effect. If we can go to Weather 13, and we'll run through some of these images. This is the tornado watch that's still in effect until 9 p.m. All the counties highlighted in red are in that. Now, Raleigh and Fayetteville likely will be dropped from this watch shortly. We still have the potential for some severe thunderstorms, but I think the tornado threat has shifted towards the east, but still a large part of eastern North Carolina under this watch until 9 o'clock. These are all the counties that are under warnings. The yellows are severe thunderstorm warnings, so we're still talking about Wake County, Wilson County, Franklin County, Nash County. The pink counties are tornado warnings, and still quite extensive from Nash and Edgecombe, the Pitt County area, Greene and Lenoir counties, also Sampson County, Duplin County, Bladen County, Pender County under a tornado warning, and point southward into the Charleston area. And we also wanted to look at wind gusts, because outside of these storms, winds are gusting tremendously. Greensboro, 44-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So once this storm system passes, it's still going to be gusty behind it. It's 24-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Sanford, and farther south, some impressive wind gusts for Clinton and Elizabethtown. And we're not the only ones dealing with this storm system. It's a broad system. Upper-level low sitting over the Ohio Valley, but each red box that you see from South Carolina through North Carolina up to Virginia, Pennsylvania, the D.C. area, all under the gun with a tornado watch. All the highlighted counties that you see in red are the tornado warnings that are ongoing as we speak. So a lot of folks being affected by the severe weather. Of course, Ken and I have been here along with Deborah Morgan over the past couple of days talking about the storm system. Yesterday through Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia, they had up to 90 reports of tornadoes. The day before, this system was in Oklahoma and Arkansas with fatalities, and also fatalities in Alabama. And it was, what is it, Alabama and Oklahoma that's declared states of emergency? Two of the hardest hit areas. Yeah, and they've declared states of emergency. And we talked last night about all the shift of this threat to North Carolina. We got upgraded to a high risk for severe weather. We're seeing the worst of it right now. Soon, over the next hour or two, it will move out of here, but we're going to be looking at the damage from this for quite some time. But it's unfathomable. Yeah, you mentioned it's going to go down in history. Right.
Yeah, all right. Mike, we appreciate that. We just got word from Cumberland County authorities. They've set up a triage area to deal with some of the injuries that are coming out of the storm. We also will need to get back to Lee County. We've been reporting all afternoon that the Lowe's Home Improvement Store in Lee County virtually decimated by this storm. Let's check in with our Brian Mims live tonight in Lee County. Brian.
Yeah, Ken, this is about as close as we can get to the site. We're about a quarter of a mile from it. We're on Highway 421. This is 421, 87 over here, coming in from Fayetteville. This is where all the traffic is being diverted, and quite a number of people up there on the rise, just looking at the damage, trying to take it all in. Let's get right to it. We have some video of that Lowe's Home Improvement Store that was demolished. There's just no other way to describe it. It is leveled, and you can see in the parking lot, all the cars have their windows shattered, most of them. The windows are shattered. And across the road, the Big Lots store was also heavily damaged, but not nearly to the extent of this Lowe's department store, home improvement store rather. We have Sky 5 that's flying over the area right now. I don't know if we have their shot established, but maybe we could give you some aerial perspectives of this scene of destruction of the Lowe's store. There's a Hardee's right across from Lowe's. It sustained heavy damage. The windows were blown out, as well as a couple of other fast food restaurants there along Horner Boulevard. Horner is a main artery going in and out of Sanford, so this is a highly populated, well-used area, especially on a Saturday afternoon. You can imagine there were quite a few people inside Lowe's on a Saturday afternoon, and we heard from a number of employees who were inside the store at the time that they saw across Horner Boulevard, looked out the front windows of Lowe's, and they saw the funnel cloud charging toward them, just a churning of wind and debris coming straight for the Lowe's store. Immediately, they began shouting to customers, "Get to the back of the store." They herded the customers through the aisles to the back, put them in break rooms and against the walls in the back of the store. One customer describes being that people were lying on top of each other, just crouched together, trying to protect themselves, and in a matter of seconds it was over. One employee described it as a deafening sound, ferocious. It sounded like an explosion, but it all ended quickly, and fortunately, nobody, from what we have heard here on the scene, nobody was seriously injured anywhere around here. We have no reports of serious injuries, just some cuts and scrapes, and that's about the extent of it. Now, we also have word of some serious damage to the southwest of here in the Lemon Springs Road area, St. Andrews Church Road area. There's a neighborhood called St. Andrews, and we have reports of several homes that sustained heavy damage, roofs blown off. We haven't had a chance to get down to that area yet. It's been difficult navigating this vicinity because of all the traffic. It's gridlocked on 87 and 421 because of all the street closures. It's just difficult getting around here. It's been difficult communicating back with the station on my cell phone because cell phone service is very spotty. I don't know if we still have the aerial shots. Is Sky 5 available now? Okay, so you could just see the breadth of this damage. Damage seems too loose of a word. It's destruction to this Lowe's store and several of the outlying businesses, but it is very localized. If you're heading up Highway 87 from, say, Fayetteville, you would have no indication that anything like this happened. Then you come up on Lowe's, and it's a disaster zone. It really is, like an apocalyptic scene. So just very indicative of how these tornadoes work. You know, the damage can be extensive, very localized, and that's what we're seeing here, Ken.
Brian, I can tell you, Sky 5 is up. Sky 5 has been up the whole time, and you are absolutely correct when you said destroyed isn't the word. I mean, they are completely demolished. Not just the Lowe's Home Improvement Store, but you can see a path of destruction throughout that community where you can see buildings have been virtually flattened. Buildings that used to be there are no longer there. And that's the unbelievable thing about it.
Yeah, and we were trying to get to the scene, and we drove a little ways to the west of here on Lee Avenue, and I believe it's Warner Avenue. We were trying to get over here, and we saw some tractor trailers overturned. They were just heaped together like they were toy trucks. That we could see that from one perspective, and we were told by people coming down the street that it was just flattened. It was just decimated. Brick buildings, warehouses, and that sort of thing. And I guess you can see some of that damage from Sky 5 as we're talking here. I haven't had a chance to see it firsthand, so I'm just kind of flying off the cuff here. But the pictures certainly speak very loudly, and you can see how extensive everything was, the damage was here in the Sanford area.
Brian, let me jump in here and help you out with the Sky 5 pictures that we're seeing. We're actually over the Lowe's Home Improvement store. The entire roof is gone. The place looks like it has been obliterated. Essentially, all the debris, the inventory, that building looked as if like something just dropped and just completely took that building apart. I mean, it is completely decimated.
And when you see those images, you realize how fortunate, how much of a blessing it is that nobody was severely injured in this. From what we have gathered, from what we know, again, we have no reports of any serious injuries here. So, and we pray that that report holds up, that we don't have any indication, any reports later on that somebody was hurt in there. But when you see, from what we know at this point, from what you see of these images of this damage, it is just a miracle that nobody was hurt.
A miracle is the right word, because we talked with one of the employees, Gail Dickens, earlier, and she remembers just hearing the storm coming toward them, and at first she said they couldn't believe that a tornado was actually coming, and then because they were in the front of the store, she's a cashier at the Lowe's Home Improvement store, because they were in the front of the store, and right now Sky 5 is over one of the Lowe's delivery trucks, completely flipped over. But Gail Dickens says because she was in the front of the store and saw the glass and was able to look through the front glass, they actually saw the storm coming, and everybody went to the back of the building. We apologize for our Sky 5 shot just dropping out, but that image, it's back now, we appreciate that. That image will absolutely stay with you. When you see the entire parking lot, you see that Lowe's Home Improvement store that probably was very busy today, and you see all the customers and employees are outside at this point, and to think, as Brian just alluded to, that there's a possibility that no one was seriously hurt in this. When you see the Lowe's Home Improvement store video and you see that picture live from Sky 5, to think that nobody was hurt is an absolute miracle. Of course, as Brian said, we don't know for sure what type of injuries we're dealing with, if any at all. But looking at the Lowe's Home Improvement store and seeing how much has been demolished, and not just the Lowe's Home Improvement store, but actually that whole entire area, you can see that it's just widespread damage in Lee County. We want to welcome in my colleague, Bill Leslie, who just dropped in to help us out here. And Bill, you've been in this community for a long time, and you know.
I remember '84, the Red Spring storms, and I remember '88, and looking at that Lowe's Home Improvement store reminds me of the Kmart over on Glenwood Avenue that was just obliterated, and you know, it's just amazing.
Yeah. Well, let's hold that thought, Bill. Let's get back into the Weather Center. You guys have some updates for us.
Yeah, we have a new tornado warning that's in effect for Wayne County. Nate's going to tell you all about that. Nate?
Yeah, we've got this warning. I switch over to Weather 6. I've got a storm track up, and this is moving across downtown Goldsboro at this hour. You can see the hook part of this thunderstorm back toward to the southwest, and it's moving toward Goldsboro, including Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, getting there very shortly. And as you recall, the Wings Over Wayne taking place right now in at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, and I know that they've got a weather detachment there that's been watching this, and I'm sure they've taken care of everybody there. But a trained weather spotter reported a tornado over Marmac, or 5 miles west of Goldsboro, moving to the northeast, and that was about 5 minutes ago. You can see the updated image just coming in from the HD Doppler network, and you can see this area, this very impressive rotation sitting right on top of Goldsboro at this hour, moving toward the northeast. I want to clear the telestration off and zoom in, show you where the rotation is, and you can see across at western Goldsboro here, where the greens and the blues are coming to, or the greens and the reds rather, are coming together. This is implies that you've got some rotation in the atmosphere, and again, a spotter reporting that a tornado on the ground now making its way into western side of Goldsboro. Now the good news is this will probably miss Seymour Johnson proper down to the south, but there's still a lot of people in the area, probably a lot of people on the road, and hopefully those folks are getting in shelter at this time as this storm moves off toward the northeast. This will be making its way northeast toward Belfast and Salisbury. Eventually, of course, this is Highway 70. Put a couple of streets on here for you. Highway 13, rather, moving across Goldsboro, Highway 13 there. And this making its way, again, northeast across Wayne County, and will be making its way toward Belfast and Salisbury, basically along, this is Highway 1566 or State Road 1566. If you're in Goldsboro or Belfast, you do need to take shelter from this thunderstorm because it is a tornado on the ground, at least according to the spotters there, in parts of Wayne County. Mike?